Now, we've kind of already talked kind of the role of the advocate already, so I'm going to kind of move now into some of the legal pitfalls of this work. And basically, what I'm going to talk about here is what do you not want to do. And basically, there are, in this work, there's really people that do it on the side of that do it within the boundaries of the law and people that don't. And my suggestion is, as an institution, that you choose to do it within the boundaries of the law. There may, and I'll talk about the other side in a second and why they're valuable, but also difficult in other ways. Basically, as an advocate, as a counselor, if a soldier comes to you for help, you don't want to ever advocate them doing something that's against the law. You shouldn't tell them, hey, you should just go AWOL, because that is a violation of the law. At least in theory, it could be aiding and abetting. No one has, in recent years, been prosecuted for that. No one's been encouraged and prosecuted for enticing people to desert. Those are all federal crimes with potential federal jail time. And as an institution, if you're doing it as a group, and potentially if one person does that, it could legally make the whole organization culpable. So what I recommend doing, if you want to stay on the side of the law, is to just say, for instance, let's say someone comes to you, they think we're going AWOL. What I'd do is I'd say, well, let me first tell you that it's against the law to go AWOL. As a lawyer, or in your case as a counselor or an advocate or whatever you are, I can't tell you to go AWOL because that's against the law, and I can't tell people to break the law. But I can tell you the consequences of breaking the law, and I can help you deal with the consequences. And I can even talk to you about the moral, ethical issues involved. In other words, you made it clear that you've shifted gears, that you're not telling people to do anything. And basically, another way to think about it is, in this kind of work, in GIAdvocates work, we strongly believe in non-directive counseling. We don't tell people what to do, so you're never really should be telling anybody what to do anyway, but just making it clear that it is against the law, but let me tell you what the consequences. And once you tell them the consequences, sometimes the consequences may be pretty good. You might get kicked out of the Army. Well, that sounds pretty good, But you need to tell them that, yes, it's against the law, and here are the consequences in your context. Another issue, though, is the issue of privilege, of legal privilege and confidentiality. When soldiers seek help from you, and if they are breaking the law, in theory, at some point the government could go after you and try to get information from you. Legally, as far as in the military context, the main areas of legal privilege that would be potentially protected in this context would be, one, that of an attorney or an attorney's assistant. In other words, if your group is supervised by an attorney, then the work of the group is protected by legal privilege. And that's, in Oklahoma, that's what we do, is that I'm officially the supervising attorney of the project, so it covers us. Another possibility, though, is you can there's also a legal privilege for clergymen's and clergymen's assistants. Now, the military, as you can see, doesn't believe in inclusive language, but I would say it's a very loose definition, and since there's several Quakers in this room, in the Quaker tradition, really everybody's clergy or nobody's clergy, but it's kind of a loose definition. So I would say either you need to have an attorney who's your supervising attorney officially, or you need to have a clergyman who's your supervising person. But basically work under their guidance, at least theoretically, and you have some degree of protection. A lot of counseling groups are also, to provide additional protection, they may choose to be careful on the records they keep. Some people keep no records. I think that's difficult because a lot of times you want to follow up with somebody, but you may, for instance, let's say someone confesses to you that I have a problem with cocaine. I would recommend not writing that on your notes. You might either use a code if you need to remember that for some reason, or you may just choose not to write that down, because that, or let's say they admitted to you that they're having an affair. Well, in the military, committing adultery is a crime, so you don't want to write that down on paper. Again, the legal privilege should protect those documents, but if you want to be super safe, don't write anything down on paper. You don't want to be hurt. Lastly, whenever you're talking on the phone, talking on email, bear in mind that the government could be tapping your line. In theory, of course, there's rules restricting that, but you and I both know that the military and the government right now doesn't respect the law, so I just assumed always listening in, and you should be fine. And also, it is always possible the government could send a plant in. They could send someone, even in person, to meet with you who actually has a recording device, and they could be trying to catch you saying, yeah, you should go AWOL. So I just, not to be completely paranoid, but in this day and age, I would just always say, I can't tell you to do anything illegal, but give them the confidence. Also, another approach is if someone asks you to do something that for instance, they ask you, how should you go AWOL? You say, I can't tell you to do that. For instance, it would be against the law for me to tell you to take a PX from, take a cab from the PX. It'd be against the law for me to tell you that. You know, there's creative approaches to take. The important thing is that you don't want to tell them how to break the law.